in are listening in from. We're just going to slowly get started as we wait for more people to join. I'm going to start sharing my screen in anticipation of having enough people. Okay, folks, welcome. I'm going to slowly start things off with my usual updates, just as people start to creep in. So welcome everyone to today's town hall. Thank you very much for joining us. As always, as you've probably already seen, we are recording and live streaming today's town hall. So if you have any access issues at all, you can go over to our YouTube channel and you can keep up to date with the live stream there. As usual, we'll kick things off with some company and product updates before we move into a Q&A session. During the session, if you'd like to use the Q&A functionality at the bottom of your screen to ask your questions, that helps us kind of keep everything in one place, a little easier than using the chat. All the questions kind of get lost in the chat because we get a lot of messages in there. And then finally, when we come to the end of the session and we do the Q&A, you can use the reaction button at the bottom and then the raise hand button to let us know that you want to come on stage to ask your question. One more update from me before I hand over to Pierre. If you don't already know, this Sunday we are heading to the VRMA conference in Orlando. That's happening Sunday through Wednesday. And unfortunately, we don't have any more free tickets to give out for VRMA. That's something that we did 2 weeks ago. But we do have some free tickets for the Cassiola Beach Party that is happening on Sunday. And those are up for grabs for everyone to get a hold of. I think there's only something like 35 tickets left. So someone's going to drop a link in the chat for me now. Thank you very much, Shifra, if you've gone ahead and done that. So grab a ticket, join us there. There's going to be cocktails, dancing on the beach. We're going to have a little relaxation zone there. We'd love to see as many folks there as possible. So now I'm going to hand over things to Pierre to provide some updates.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, that's a big update to have. Thank you very much. So no company swag for me this week. Everything has been put to wash and iron so that basically I can have plenty to meet you starting this Sunday, actually, over in Orlando in Florida. I will have, however, one update that some of you have been waiting for a bit of time, which was actually already announced on October 23rd. And some of you may have noticed, we're launching now priority support. So we've had some difficulties in support. We really believe that we are solving them. And now we basically are able to roll out more functionalities for our customers that would like to get more out of our support team and more diversity from, for example, which channels to use. So really coming from our experience with customers, who basically, and that's something you can talk about Miles on the next slide, is they want faster support. Obviously, nobody has ever claimed, I want the support to slow down a little bit because they're being too responsive and too helpful. That's always the case. There is a faster support that is operational, and that's on us. We've been growing the sales team by margins, really, quite differently. Now it's half of the company that is running support. And also more channels. Obviously, the second complaint that we're having about support is we would like to be able to interact with you by phone. And it's going to take a bit of time for us to get there, but we're starting and we're very happy to do so. You're going to be able to interact with us by phone. So starting now, everybody who is not a priority support customer is still going to be serviced by the same team with as fast as we can live chat and email support. And that's the support team that's been acknowledged as being a winning team by independent websites and reviewers like G2. The same team is also going to be working with the priority support clients, which we've launched basically a bit earlier this week. What priority support will offer you is first a little star next to every conversation that you are starting. All the conversation will be marked as priority, which means they will be answered first, at first of the queue. We don't commit to a specific response time because it depends on our coverage. It also depends on the urgency of every single one of our customers, of the issues of our customers. But as soon as we can, we will answer first your conversations. The second feature is WhatsApp support. So that's something fantastic. I actually should probably open and show you what it looks like on my own phone. Won't see that in close detail. It's basically you can interact. I'm going to hide the number because it's actually a private thing, but you can basically interact directly with the support team by phone, by WhatsApp. So that means you can send messages, you can record voice messages while you're on the go, and as the case obviously for a significant number of customers, and our support team will be receiving that, and again, it will be marked as priority. Now, those customers that are electing to become customers on priority support are also going to be the first in line when we are launching inbound phone support. So here we're really talking about the ability for you to reach out to us whenever you have a problem. We will bet, or you have a question, we will be working on that progressively, but we want to assess how many customers are really sponsoring that specific feature. There are obviously significant costs and operational challenges in working that out, as is the case for every company. So we want to be making sure that we're going to be rolling out in the best of conditions. So that's available today. The next slide shows you a few of the conditions in terms of pricing. We've been going back and forth on the copy. The idea is that if you're a property owner on the base subscription plan, you are going to pay $10 for your first 2 properties. If you are a property manager having more than 2 properties connected on Hospitable that are actually active, so that means there was a check-in in the past 30 days, you will basically pay $1 extra per property. So if you have 10 properties, you have the first 2, 10, and then the remaining 8. So you pay $18 for 10 active properties, provided all of that active. So the number will fluctuate month over month. If you're a property manager or managing properties for others, you know that already. The pricing will vary. Here we're talking about American dollars, US dollars. We are also launching just now, actually a few minutes ago, just deployed a VIP support, which is for really ambassadors and investors into our company, in which you are going to have not only priority support with the support team wherever you go, but also have more of a conversation with our engineering and product team directly where decisions are made, which is on Slack, and have access obviously to the company updates that we're sharing. And we basically want to make that a bit more of an opportunity for people to meet one another. And the last feature, probably likely to be called a bug, is my WhatsApp phone number. So you'll be able to tell me whenever there is any question that you're having, or you're having a feature request, some feedback, some idea. So I will be sending the invites over the next few days. And that's the case for every single investor. But that's indeed invitation only, no extra cost, because you are basically top of the line ambassadors and investors into the company. So the requirement here is we're going to reserve that for people who have, for individuals who have invested more than $5,000 and who have referred us 5 new customers. So that basically means that you don't need to be an accredited investor in the United States, you or another investor elsewhere. We also wanted to appreciate those people that are spending a bit of time and spending maybe also their goodwill to their friends or colleagues or other people in the industry that are referring Hospitable to other hosts. So you can, if you want to hear more about referring referrals, so inviting another host, can just go into your account, into the little profile picture on the bottom left on your products and click refer host, and you would have access to the links and be able to invite by email another host that you know. That's something we encourage you to share on social media, on the groups that basically are allowing you to share that for yourself. It's a winning deal, the referrals, it's a winning deal because you save $30 on your next invoice and they save $30 on their first invoice. So it's actually both ways are really very profitable for you, hopefully in the long term. One is immediate, another one is more on the long term. And I think we can go next. So because I've just talked briefly about the host token, which is the vehicle for allowing investors from the US. If you are located based in the US, you need to pass a few steps, but more importantly, you need to be an accredited investor. If you're located everywhere else, like me, you just need to go through a simple KYC and AML process. You can send your questions, and there is a QR code to the investor dashboard where you can sign up and invest into a product. You can, if you're watching that on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, can also hit pause a little bit and take a bit of time to scan this QR code. Just wanted to give an update to our investors. It's going to be very quick and brief, is that the token value is increasing. It's been 37% up since the launch in 2021. It's reaching 6.8. So it's steadily increasing and reflecting the value, the investors that are making those new investments onto that instrument. That's not nowhere near the actual growth of a business, which over that period is far above 100%. And those investors that are qualified can also access a full open metrics and a full investor dashboard that I don't need to update. It's really something that you can that is updated live from our billing systems. So in our case, that ChartMogul and ChartB. So you can really trust the data that's behind it. We have Brianna who's asking in the chat, is that either or a 5K investor and or having referred 5 hosts? I want to say and, but no, it's actually very much either or. If you are investing $5,000, that's fantastic. We want to say that we appreciate you immensely. And I want to hear from you whenever you're having an issue and you have a feature request. It doesn't say that that feature would necessarily be accepted. So Andrew can breathe a little bit. As for having referred 5 hosts, I think that's basically a way for people who cannot yet be accredited to achieve a VIP priority support, which includes all priority support and more for free at no extra cost. So that's an invitation for you to refer to us. Just show that link, invite by email. You're helping us grow, and we're basically paying it forward. I think that's it on what I have for me, and we can go over to Direct, where Andrew is a guy that we really want to hear. He has plenty of updates and a fantastic picture, movie scene.
Yeah, there's a GIF again this week, so get excited. I'm excited. It's been a fun couple of weeks in Direct. We're building beautiful features, chiefly among them multi-property search. So a lot of updates. Last week we shared with you a very early GIF. We're in private beta right now, so we're on, I think, probably 4 or 5 websites right now with our hosts, just gathering kind of very rough feedback. But it's going to get finer soon. So we added a map view. We added a card image carousel, so you can actually scroll through images in the search results. We cut the query time, so the time it takes for the availability search across all your properties to load in half this last week. And we're starting to get closer to knowing what a launch date looks like. So probably the week of October 30th, we anticipate rolling that out. What does rolling out look like? We're going to, I think, launch for custom sites and for Hospitable templates the same time. So we'll be releasing that publicly. You'll obviously have a little bit of implementation on your own if you're using a custom site, but it will be available for everyone through a custom widget, as well as through our Hospitable site templates if you're using those. Hopefully the week of October 30th. That's the plan. So let's look at the progress so far. So next slide. Just get a view of what we've been looking on. So this is one of our customer sites in the private beta. That location drop-down list can be completely customizable. So you're able to kind of suggest the places that are relevant to your business. We're now looking at the map view. You can see the image carousel and the cards getting loaded, available versus unavailable inventory on the map. You can click through from properties from the map or from the side results and see those. So we're really excited about the progress on this. It's come together pretty quickly. Again, it's performance. It loads really quick. It's availability search with location search. So we're trying to expose all of your inventory on every search. So even if it's, the dates aren't available or the guest count isn't available, we're always going to show all your inventory. So people that have, 4, 5, 6 properties, you don't want to have no search results coming. So it's more of a sorting function, location, as well as availability. And yeah, it's very close. So we're really starting to get into kind of the finer forms of feedback right now. Super excited about that. Yeah, huge thank you to Ben and Aaron, who've been Aaron on the back end and Ben on the front end, just really knocking out of the park on this. Super excited. Okay, next. Google Vacation Rentals. We announced this at the last town hall 2 weeks ago, and then quickly followed up on all of your feedback. So custom domains, that got added a few days after the last town hall when you said, okay, yeah, when are custom domains coming? I think the next day, actually, we had that done. So anyone using a Hospitable site including with custom domains, can now start scoping their properties to Google. Those take a while to go live. That's been a lot of the feedback from our support team. So you're looking at like 2 weeks when you initially scope. So when you go into direct, you go to the channel, sorry for the cat tail. It'll take you 2 weeks for everything to go live. And the confusing part is, and this is what's coming to support, is it'll actually go live on Google before like all of the behaviors are there. So you might not see your full pricing available on Google, even though you can search and get pricing. So it's kind of the way that Google works. It's a bit of a legacy product for them. It's through Google Hotels. So just bear with us as you're going live. You might even see an issue reported where you don't have enough images. Even if you do, that is coming from Google and they haven't finished processing your images yet, which amazingly takes them a couple of weeks. So just bear with us on that go live process. It can happen in pieces. Otherwise, we're going to show you a status. So it's going to say either that it's pending, meaning it's under review. Allow that 2 weeks. You'll see an issue reported when we have it. So if you don't have enough images, we've got a support doc that goes through all the requirements they have. And then once it's live, we'll actually show you a link to the listing. So you'll see a view on Google listing. You can go through and you can look at your property there. We've started sending review ratings. We're not seeing them live yet. So we're investigating why that's happening. Again, things take time, but we're not sending your review content for now. We're only sending the rating. So if you've got OTA channels connected and you have review data, we'll send like 4.9 out of 5 stars, and that's 36 reviews. That's going to help you in the search results on Google. So that's what we're sending now. No review content for now. We don't own that content, so we're not sending that. And just a quick glance at the performance so far. We're not tracking conversions just yet. We're going to start looking at that very soon. So this is for all of our hosts. We're up to 1,900 properties on Google right now. And this is, how much business or how many leads they're sending us right now. But to really know, we're going to start tracking conversions soon. Otherwise, what we're working on the direct side, ad hoc fees, they should go live tonight, possibly tomorrow morning. We're going to try and get that done before this town hall. But there was just a couple of things we wanted to verify before those go live. That's in the inbox. So you have a send or receive money. The refund side of that to send money back to the guest has been live for a few weeks now. But the payment request side of that, so the receive money side, is about to go live, probably tonight, maybe tomorrow. Otherwise, we started registering for taxes. So we're looking, we're starting to get into sales tax registration. We're going to look at lodging tax registration, both at the state and the local level. That is a long process. It takes like 4 to 6 weeks on most states, most jurisdictions to get registered. And then that's going to switch from a pass-through tax if we're able to register. And if we have enough business in your jurisdiction to justify the cost, we'll start doing that. So that's going to be a long conversation. We're going to start notifying you when we start knowing where we can register. And that'll be hopefully a big headache off of your plate to start filing taxes for you and remitting them on your behalf. Otherwise, no update yet for direct premium, the guest vetting implementation. We do want to show you the IDs there and more of the content. We're still waiting on AutoHost to get us that data, but we're ready to go as soon as they are. Pet fees. I was hoping to have them live today, but really we've had a big distraction with the multi-property search and the adjustments. So that is one of the next items that we're going to get live is pet fees. And then, for our premium users who want to be using premium in Canada and UK, that is also on the very near-term roadmap. Other than that, looking a little bit farther out, we're going to be rebuilding our booking widget as well. So we've done this multi-property search is a widget as well. We have the kind of the legacy booking widget that's going to be completely rebuilt. So you need to start looking to make sure you're using the current widget, which is from Direct. It's not the old one we used to show in the property page. It's the new one. So we're going to do better messaging about that as we get closer to end of life for those quotes and then payments. So these are big ones. Obviously quotes, being able to prepare a payment link for a user, block off the dates on the calendar and send them that link to confirm the booking. And then, the payments, a big one, not making someone pay upfront a year in advance for a huge booking. We want, obviously deposit, multiple payments. All of that is part of what we're kind of packaging as midterm stays. And we're not there yet, but we are very excited to start working on that soon. And I think that's it. And I'm passing to, I believe, Alyssa to talk about some of the improvements with smart locks recently.
Just before we get into smart locks, Kyler had a question that was asked on the Q&A. I think that's just an opportunity to reply immediately. What happens when you click a property on the multi-search in a custom site? Does it go to a custom web build page? Basically, I think it's about the interaction between multi-property search and how it works on a custom site, so working on the widget.
Yeah, so it would be kind of a pass off there from the widget to the custom site. And yeah, that's something that we haven't solved quite yet, but yeah, it'll go to your property page then from the search results.
Okay. So we need to basically do some work on our side to finish basically what that would be looking like. Which means, Kyler, if you can send a few things in the chat directly to, if you have particular ideas, because that's the moment to hear your feedback. Thank you. That's all I wanted. And now Alisa on smart locks.
Yeah. So we are excited for many smart locks improvements released over the last couple of weeks, including some upcoming features. Two of the biggest improvements are that you can now modify the codes that we create within your own lock app. Previously, those changes were getting reverted. However, we will still retain control over any backup codes that we've created as a way to safeguard the full functionality and security of your locks. And as a reminder, you can always fine-tune your code timing directly in Hospitable by adjusting the check-in and check-out times in your inbox conversation or by customizing your buffers in the smart lock settings. And speaking of backup codes, that you can go back one. Thank you. That is where our other big improvements have been made. For anyone who doesn't know, our backup codes feature is one that's currently available for all users who have beta features enabled. It allows us to ensure that a functioning code is always sent to your guest, even when the initial code that we try to set fails for whatever reason. In fact, the success rate for those users with backup codes enabled is 99.5%. And actually, most of those failures are due to an account that needs to be reconnected, which isn't something we can do for you. But and it is 98.45% for those users without backup codes enabled. So this is a feature. Importantly, this is the backup codes is a feature that is soon we want to have on by default for all users because of that just big boost in reliability that it gives. But of course, we would love for more of you to start switching over to using that feature as soon as possible. There have been, like I say, very huge improvements into the logic behind how all of that works. And you can switch to the next slide. In continuing efforts to boost the code reliability and make your hosting experience more stress-free, we are also about to launch an always-on code communication message to your guests that will be tied to the enabling of backup codes. This message will be sent to your guests 10 minutes before a code is scheduled to become active. It further reduces the chances of any incorrect code being sent to your guest, as well as shortens the setup time for any new smart locks. Just kind of closes the gap there on the reliability. Importantly, though, for all of you who are already using smart locks, it won't impact anyone's current messaging setup. So you can still use the smart lock shortcode in your other messages. And the message that we send will, it'll still sound like it should still sound like it's coming from you, because it will have dynamic wording based on if the code was previously communicated to the guest. That means, if you already sent it, then we'll communicate the code as a reminder rather than, like it's the first time. If for some reason it has to be a new code, like say we had to use a backup code, then we would communicate it like, oh, please use this code instead. When we will even include a greeting that says, hello, John, what have you, if you haven't had recent communication with the guest. So we would love your feedback on that. Besides that, our team is still hard at work on a devices dashboard as well that will give you complete control over all of your codes and locks directly within your Hospitable account. So stay tuned for more updates on that. And now I think we're passing off to Emily.
Yep. Cool. Thanks, Alyssa. Hey, everybody. Okay, I'll quickly cover 2 fixes and improvements, and then I'll talk about some of what we're focusing on next. So first, we shipped a fix this week Some of our customers had reported that when they went to use the suggest a reply feature in their inbox, it was either taking a really long time to load or not loading at all. We did see that happening and implemented a fix, so that should not be an issue anymore. We had announced last town hall that we made a small change to allow everybody 5 suggestions, regardless of what subscription plan you are on. So you have 5 free suggestions each month. If you need to use any more beyond that, then you just need to be on our current base subscription, which most people are on anyway, so it probably doesn't impact you. But for those people who have been customers of ours for years, who are paying, $13, $20 a month, would need to upgrade if they do want to continue using this feature, and you need more than 5 suggestions each month. Next, okay, so this has been an issue. Actually, sorry, not next slide. Yep, next bullet. Okay, so we have our Hospitable iCal, which many of you are importing into your channels kind of as a backup to block dates. Vrbo has been reading this iCal incorrectly for several months. So for some users who are in certain time zones, it was actually blocking off a day too soon. So this was a big issue, but it was only happening on Vrbo, and it didn't have anything to do with how our iCal was formatted. It was simply like how Vrbo was interpreting it. We didn't see a fix on the horizon from them, so we did go ahead and make some adjustments to make sure that when they read it in the way that is going to allow for them to set that properly on their side. So you don't need to make any changes. Continue using the iCal as you do if that's something that you're using, and Vrbo should be reading it correctly from this point forward because of that change. All right, now next slide, please. Okay, so we have a nice hefty list of things we're focusing on next. We've talked about a lot of these things before in previous town halls. Most of these projects are very big ones, so thanks for bearing with us. We talk about them just to let you know that we are continuing to work on them, and you'll see some of these come live in the coming weeks, and some of them will take a little bit longer. Some of the items that we're focusing on right this moment are Booking.com connection flow improvements and the ability to support an extra guest fee across all channels. So if you remember earlier this year, we kind of announced a big effort to focus on improving our connections, and Vrbo was what we tackled first, and now Booking.com. We have a really strong connection with them, but the flow, the setup process is kind of clunky and difficult to get through. So that's what we're working on now, improving the connection process. So for anybody who's going to be connecting Booking.com in the future, this is going to make it a lot easier for you to do so. Then the extra guest fee across all channels is pretty cool. For example, a host might say, okay, you have one price for the first 4 guests, but for the 5th guest and beyond, we're going to charge X amount of dollars extra for that reservation. And so that will be something that you can set from within Hospitable and push to all of your channels. The metrics dashboard, I know Alyssa shared in great detail several town halls ago. Still focusing on that. Most of the backend work is complete, and a lot of work has been done just this week to optimize how we're actually pulling these metrics so that we can ensure that it's really fast and performant for you. And we've started the front end work. So that's the stuff that you're going to actually see. So we're really excited to be able to share that with you when it's ready. Parent-child property setup is the next thing. This is also a very complicated project that we're working really hard on. We're doing the backend work for it now, and we're looking for people to join our private pilot. So if you guys are currently doing a parent-child property setup with your properties, go ahead in the chat to the host and panelists, please, not to everyone, and share your email with me. We are going to be supporting 2 different configurations of parent-child. One is going to be kind of like the typical duplex or quadplex where one parent has multiple children. The other setup is something that's been really popular on Twitter these days, where you might have like a really big property that say has 10 rooms that's like really like easily booked on the weekends, but maybe on weekdays it's a little tougher because it's like intended for like large families to take vacations or something. We're also going to be supporting that type of setup where you basically make a big property a smaller property on weekdays or whatever. So if you're doing any of those scenarios, shoot your email to me. I will email you guys and we can get you set up for that private pilot in the next couple, probably later this quarter, so that we can get that tested and rolled out for the rest of everyone pretty soon. Alyssa already touched on the devices dashboard, so I won't harp on that too much, but we're really excited to get that out and be able to give you guys access to kind of control your devices from a single place, whether you're, on the web app or on the go. And last but not least, we've been making lots of changes to our public API. This gets a little bit technical, but basically, one thing we've done recently is implement OAuth, which is actually going to allow you soon to go to the app page and see what integrations you have enabled. Right now, you have to go through this process of creating all your API keys and giving those to the to our partner from within their product. And then within Hospitable, it's hard to see which integrations you're actually using. So because of all those changes we're making, pretty soon you'll be able to go to the apps page and actually see cool, I have these 3 integrations configured. These are the health of these integrations, and you'll just have a little bit more insight into what integrations you're using, what they're doing, and how they're performing. That is all I have today. I think we're going to do Q&A now with Miles.
Cool. Yeah, we are. Thank you very much, Emily. And we already have a bunch of questions being answered by the team in our chat Q&A. But just a reminder, folks, you can also raise your hand using the reaction button at the bottom of the screen. If you go in there, reactions, and then raise hand, that'll give you an opportunity to ask your question on stage live if you so wish. So I'm just going to wait a second to see if anyone raises their hand. And there we go, just like that. Just going to give it 30 seconds. So Jared, I am now inviting you on stage to ask your question. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can. You're a little quiet, so you might have to speak up a little bit.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me a little better now, or?
That's better. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jared.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on a headset, so I don't know how much louder I can get on here. But my question is, so we have multiple properties. We've been very happy with Hospitable, by the way. This is my first town hall call. So there's a lot of tag options that you can create on your listings for direct booking in regards to direct booking website. Is there any plans to maybe add almost like we've had a custom website before where you can actually filter by a tag, so to speak. So if we have a couple properties within a resort area and we wanted to tag it as, Mountain View condominiums or Cedar Lodge, that a guest could go in and actually filter by that on the view.
Jared, were you listening into our internal conversations this week?
No.
Are you a spy?
Okay.
Are you a spy?
No.
Who do you work for?
I do work in IT.
Could you work for us?
Who I work for.
Could you work for us? I like those ideas.
Yeah,
Andrew is very, very proud of himself right now.
What? What? My cat's very proud of me. Actually, she just wants to be fed. Jared, we were huddling on it this week with the team working on the multi-property search. That's definitely one of the next steps is, so we talked about how to build a location editor. We're going to make that work just out of the box. So we're going to kind of take your high level locations, and then we're going to let you customize that. So if you want to people that host a lot of travel nurses, they might put hospitals in their area on their location dropdown. That'll help, again, expose the content that's relevant to your guest. And then the next step from the location editor is the amenity editor, which is what you're talking about with tags. And so, a lot of you guys have already marked up all of your properties with tags like has a pool or is great for skiing or whatever that is. We'll let you pull those into direct per site and say, okay, I want these tags to be listed. So they're going to show up in your search results. And so you can kind of mark up those cards, and then you're going to be able to, the guest will be able to click on those to kind of filter your properties based on those tags. So absolutely, totally excited about that.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, because we have properties at different locations, and even we're in the Smoky Mountains and even between 2 different towns. So for us to be able to give our guests an option to say, hey, I want to look at just properties in Pigeon Forge or just properties in town center, Sevierville, that would be very helpful, I think.
Yeah. So right now the location search, like I said earlier, it's not filtering. Because again, once you look at it on the map, I think our default assumption is that you want to expose, your properties in Pigeon Forge, even if they're looking at the other towns, just so, they start to develop a relationship with you, know where your properties are as a business. I think that's a positive thing. But the tagging, I think, probably will be a filter, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself there.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jared.
Thank you very much, Jared. And we don't have anyone else with a hand raised at the moment.
Okay.
So
I've got another.
Go ahead, Andrew.
I've got so yeah, someone did ask a question about Google Vacation Rentals and custom sites, which I should have covered. We've covered it in previous town halls, but I did not give any updates on that tonight or today, depending on where you are. We are still working on custom sites. Pretty high confidence we will be able to do it, but we need to build in a few checks. So that's probably like a 4 to 6 week timeline we're looking at before we can let you connect a custom site to GVR, but pretty high confidence we'll be able to do that. So future town halls will hopefully have more details on that.
Cool. And whilst we're on the direct topic, I'm just going to steal a couple of questions from the Q&A, Andrew, to ask you. So there was one around essentially. So Wendy asking, already scoped properties months ago in prep for Google Vacation Rental, and basically just double checking if that's done. Is that now kind of doing its own thing and it's just processing, or do they have to kind of go back and do anything else?
No, you shouldn't have to do anything. But if you don't see a view on Google, a green button on your channel page in direct for Google Vacation Rentals, then you should contact support, because we're anticipating a 2-week period, and it could take all of those 2 weeks. That just isn't something we're just saying. But if it's more than that, please do contact us, and we might need to look. But I haven't seen anyone so far that has problems that really prohibited them from going live if they were meeting all the requirements. So the minimum number of photos, 8. You need specific photos of like a bedroom, a bathroom, and a living room, I think. Like, look at that support article. It's linked to from the direct channel page. And make sure you're meeting those requirements. If you are, you should see a view on Google. And if you're not, you should see an issue. So that's, otherwise you need to contact support.
Perfect. Thank you. So we do have a hand raised now. So Sarah, inviting you on stage to ask your question. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, thank you. I am actually just on a trial right now. And I mean, first of all, I just want to say I really appreciate this town hall, because in making my decision about what application I choose, seeing the way that you are and you respond to questions and are involved in the development with the feedback from your customers really makes a difference. So I really appreciate your way of being on this call and having it. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to be on it while I'm in my trial period. But the question I have is, as a new person I had coming in, I noticed that I didn't get a notification when my guest wanted to alter their reservation. So they were currently in my Airbnb or in my short term, and they were looking to alter it. So as someone who didn't know much about Hospitable yet, I was thinking, oh, there's a glitch, it isn't working. Now I found out, I was emailing with Cameron, I believe, and found out there is a workaround to that. I just have to set it up and set myself up as a teammate. That being said, without having that information, I had a moment where I was like, oh, this could be a big problem for me if I want to use it Hospitable exclusively. So I was just wondering, one, I wanted to give you that feedback so because it could make a difference in terms of getting new customers. And I also wanted to know if there is a plan to make that an automatic notification.
Woo! Thank you very much, Tara, for everything. I don't know really about the specifics of your conversation. If it went to a teammate, I think there is probably a bit of a nuance there. I think there's plenty of work that we need to do around operations, in particular as a product, to basically make that more automated. We kind of are going to take a bit of a specific path to solve it, which basically is that you should not be setting up cleaners or teammate notification. What you care about is really recruiting them, making sure they get paid, making sure they get access to all the information that you need them to do. And it's up to them ultimately to decide one of the many ways that they can get notified, whether it's accessing the calendar, receiving email, receiving text message, maybe on WhatsApp and receiving an iCal, or receiving a link an email whenever there is with a list of check-in and check-outs, which are all options. So it's an overwhelming number of options. I think is basically it's up to the teammates to decide what's good for them, not really for you. For you, it should be recruiting, managing.
Let me clarify. I'm not getting the notification.
Honestly, that's going to be a support conversation, and that's not typically what we want to delve in. I can look into this conversation.
Okay, they told me that that's the current behavior, not that it's a glitch, not that it's a problem. That's how it functions. That's why I'm addressing it here. So I'm offering it as a potential possibility for development to have it be native to notify when you have, unless I got information.
So yeah. I think you got some right information about a specific question. I just think that it's maybe not what you're talking about here. You want yourself to be notified by email or text message whenever your guest has an alteration request?
Yes.
Okay. That's actually, there have been a lot of customers that ask us to do a lot more around emails right now. We're probably sending notification of that sort over a push browser notification. So you could also receive that, but it's not.
No, I'm not getting a push on the app either. I'm not being notified at all through Hospitable.
Okay, so Sarah, that's the support conversation. There are multiple things, especially I've been onto support conversation recently about browser notification. It's basically the things that we can investigate. There are multiple things in the middle that can basically have a bit of an impact. But what I can tell you is that I've received feedback from customers, especially on the more enterprise side, that basically are expecting to have everything copied over from the OTA over by email from us directly. And so that means notification about those alteration requests and every single booking event, but also messages that are being sent or being received. And I think that's basically the general all-encompassing communication over by email that you could find an answer to a specific problem, rather than having to set up operation, teammates, and all those notifications.
I mean, I think the question is it the expected behavior that a primary user of the account would get a notification when there's an alteration request?
Right now, no, it's not, because we don't want to copy over the notification that you're likely receiving over from our OTA. There may be a specific question for that on direct. Thank you, Andrew, for reframing it.
What is OTA?
So that's Airbnb, that's Vrbo, that's Booking.com. Typically, they are the one already communicating things over to you. That stands for online travel agency.
So I think I have an inaccurate expectation then, because I was thinking I could just use Hospitable and not be getting the notifications from those other ones anymore. But it sounds like that's not correct. I should use Hospitable in a way that allows me to, like, I'm still getting certain notifications from the other platforms.
That's what I would recommend, yes, because they will have also a lot more information. I mean, they sometimes have more information that they should share with you directly than we can access with the official integrations that we're having with them. So that's actually a good question and good for general advice. I think if you just want Hospitable to be receiving you all the messages, all the emails, etc., that currently is not a feature we have. That's a feature we've heard about, a feature request we've heard about. But I think it's one step further to basically shut down all your notifications from Airbnb, from Vrbo, from Booking.com, and expect only Hospitable to be the one sending you those notifications.
Thank you for that. That's really good to know. I also want you to know that isn't what I understood from the marketing, and will actually contribute to my decision, because if I'm getting notifications from Airbnb and VRBO and Hospitable and getting double notifications,
no, you're not getting notifications from Hospitable. That's the thing. You're not getting you're getting notification for the things that we do. You're not getting additional notifications for the events that are happening on the OTA.
Right now I get a notification when I get a new booking on the app, in Hospitable, and at Airbnb. I get a duplication or a new message.
That's just the push notification. So the push notifications do work. On that, at least.
Okay, I think I understand. And I hope you do take this feedback and actually what I'm saying.
I do. I've heard,
because I'm not sure you do right now. But I'm going to leave it at that. And I understand the functionality that is inherent now at this point. Thank you.
I would love to hear in the chat basically what's the expectation from other users. We're having plenty of things here, but yeah, I would love to hear if basically you're expecting us to be sending notifications alternatively to what the OTA is giving. So yeah, I would love to hear the view from every single customer that's on the chat right now. Thank you, Sarah, nonetheless, for your feedback. And we can. I think you can also send a message on basically what you did and what was not clear for you on the marketing side.
Cool, for sure. Thank you very much. So now we have Edward that would like to come on stage and ask a question. Hello.
Hello, Edward.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great, cool.
The profile picture is a bit unsettling with the voice, if I may say.
Yeah, no, it made me
That's fine.
hit unmute 3 times. Anyway, on the front page, when I go to my front page, I've been a user and for about a year and have learned to really like it. I know that I've asked for telephone support and I would think that would be great, but doing these really help a lot. My question today is on the main page when it says good afternoon, Edward. I understand the 3 boxes in the middle of the screen, request to book, scheduled messages, and unassigned tasks. I understand them completely. They make sense. They work. What I don't understand is under inquiries. For example, I have 3 and they're all guests that have been there, have stayed here, and it's long gone. And yet they're asking me to pre-approve. I can't just delete them. They should just be deleted. And yet I can't. All I can do is pre-approve, send a message, or check unresolved. I just wanted to delete them. They just need to be gone. What am I missing here?
You're not missing anything. I think what we are missing is basically a last update from your OTA, especially that may mean that we have not received an update from Airbnb or Vrbo, if that's the case at that time. So what you need to do is actually, we have a specific procedure for this. So you can contact our support team just to ask them to clear inquiries that are basically being flagged as such. There is a tool on our admin panel that basically would just update, refresh those and change the status arbitrarily, so that we clear your inquiries that are no longer inquiries, of course, that could no longer be booked at all. It's a data inconsistency problem that's happening. Hopefully it's 3 out of a lot more. So yeah, those things.
So to get help with that, I hit contact support and then
exactly.
What messages?
So yeah, please clear the inquiries on my dashboard.
Okay. All right, cool. Polite, all right, please. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you very much, Edward.
Thank you very much, Edward. So next on stage, and apologies here, I'm not sure on the pronunciation. VRMA. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay. Yeah, I was referring to the explanation given regarding the notification. You know, I think Pierre's explanation was that the account holder gets a notification from the OTAs, but what if the guest is a direct guest? Will that change anything?
I think that should absolutely change plenty of things.
Okay.
Andrew is probably there best suited to answer if his cat can basically free him a little bit from custody.
She's getting more and more hungry. Yes. So obviously with direct, there is no OTA in the equation, right? And so it is our job to notify you, and you should be getting those notifications. Although there is no path in direct for the customer to request an alteration other than the messaging. So they're going to message you as the host and say, hey, can I extend a day? Can I drop a day? And there's no kind of approval process like you would see on an OTA. So it's a little bit different, happens through the messaging. And then, you're in charge of approving or not that request and deciding how much it costs.
Oh, then everything will be done manually afterwards. Is that correct? So I accept and then I block the dates and then send them a link for the payment. Is that it?
No, so we're going to charge their card on file. So you do need to make sure that, you've communicated well. The guest says, I want to extend a day. You need to communicate that what the cost is going to be for them. And then once you have their confirmation, you just go to the alter section of the calendar in the inbox, make the alteration, and we'll capture the payment from the card on file.
Okay. I just want to know, in order not to miss a step that would trigger the charge. I think that's my concern on the direct. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so we're going to give you a review and confirm screen. That's the last step of the alteration. And that's going to make very clear what's about to happen when you click confirm. So yeah, make sure you have communicated well with your guests. They understand the consequences of the extension, meaning the cost. And then you can go through that process, click the confirm button. And at that moment, we will capture or attempt to capture the payment from the user. This works differently than the new feature we talked about tonight, which is the ad hoc fees. So when you click the send or request money button, that is a payment link. That means we're going to email the guest a link. They can click on that at any time, and they need to actually pay. So those are, for things like a pool heating fee or an additional pet fee or additional cleaning fee after they've checked out and there was a problem. Those kind of ad hoc needs. That's what that's for. And there's not an alteration to the reservation itself.
Okay, thank you so much. But one last question. Do I need to, as the account holder, manually block the date, or once the payment goes through, it blocks that date automatically?
Yeah. So you don't need to manually block the date. When you make the alteration, it needs to be unblocked for the alteration to work, and then we'll capture the payment. If we don't capture the payment successfully, we'll let you know. But yeah, if you've got a conversation going on, just as a best practice, you might want to block the date temporarily so someone else doesn't book it if the guest has asked for it. But then you would need to unblock it before you make the alteration so we can successfully book those dates for you.
Thank you so much. That's a bit clearer. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for your questions.
Thank you very much. And so we don't have any more hands raised at the moment, Andrew. And I don't know if you've had a chance with the cat distracting you, but I don't know if you want to just take a look through the Q&A and the chat and maybe just have a look at if there's some that we can kind of summarize answers to, because there's quite a few direct questions.
Yeah, and I'm actually typing one. So Ethan, if you're listening as well, I was about to send you an answer, but it's a good question. So Ethan has been using Google Business for his short-term rental, and he's got like 40 reviews on there, doesn't want to lose that. That's a problem. What Google has told us is that short-term rentals don't go on Google Business. And I think they're actively trying to distinguish short-term rentals within there and remove them from the platform. The appropriate Google location for you is Google Travel, and that goes through Google Vacation Rentals. So I don't have good information for you, Ethan. If I think your conversation is actually with Google, because you want to transfer the value you've accrued in Google Business, and that's they don't want you to have that there. So I'm pretty clear on the feedback they've given us, and just thought there probably are some other hosts in that position. So it's better to share that publicly. You should be on Google Vacation Rentals, and right now there's no path that I'm aware of to migrate those reviews, unfortunately. So that is a bit hard to hear. I understand. Otherwise, we had Jonathan asking about SEO and direct booking sites. That is something that is on the near-term roadmap, but we're not working on directly yet. There are some low-hanging fruit we can do as far as improving your site descriptions and things. We're really kind of the theme of this quarter for us is payment optimization. So we're really trying to help you guys with conversions that are already on your site. I think when we look at like Q1 of next year, then that theme probably switches more to really doubling down on the quality of the sites as well as the SEO included. So really making our sites be a strong asset for us. I think that the multi-property search is going to be a big asset for us already, but really focusing on sites in Q1 of next year, including SEO. Have a question from Q. When will we be able to control the hero photo on GVR? I'm not sure. That should be taking the primary photo. So the way to control photos in direct generally is on the property page in direct, and you can sort those photos. So we're going to pull them in. There's a known issue that we tend to pull accessibility photos from Airbnb and put them at the top. That's not great. We're going to fix that. Until then, the way to fix that is to go in and you can delete them from Hospitable if you don't need them in your site, or you can just move them to the end of your sorting, and that means they'll show up last. I believe Google should be using your first photo. That's the one we're sending, but that's something I haven't investigated, so we can look into that.
I think there was a conversation about it, and we heard that basically depending on the search, Google will actually show different pictures based on the search fields that you're having, which is
sounds like something they do.
Yeah, sounds like something to do search, and that's probably a justification for the time it takes for them to review pictures and basically before getting a website listing live. So I think I've heard that somewhere. I've seen that somewhere on our internal Slack communications.
Okay.
That Google is adjusting.
Yeah, so you might not be able to control it. Yeah, what I explained is how you control it for direct sites, and Google may or may not choose to honor your sorting. Where on the roadmap, this is a question from Dave, is the ability to adjust pricing so we can absorb / pay for the guest service fee, enabling us to market as a fee-free option. This is something that has come up very many town halls ago. We're not there yet. We can really only explain that it's a bit complicated. So yeah, depending on what fees we decide to bundle within your nightly rate is a question that impacts taxes. It impacts promo codes. It impacts legal compliance in different jurisdictions where you're required to break out certain fees. Those are all kind of complicated topics, and for that reason, when we can do something crazy on multi-property search, that tends to be what we choose over bundling fees. But we hear you. We know it's important, and it's something we will look at. But there are some complexities involved. It's not quite as easy as just making a decision for all hosts and bundling all fees. But yeah. Heard, Dave. That is good feedback.
And it took Airbnb just about 10 years to basically do the same thing and charge a host-only fee of about 15%. Basically, they did to promote because it basically streamlined a lot of things on their side. So yeah, the reality of it is that we built that feature with this breakdown of fees because it was easier, compliant from a compliant perspective. And it's also, we are listening to you guys and to you people. And whenever Airbnb announced a host-only fee of 15%, there was mostly anger, which I believe was really misplaced. And so we didn't want, seeing that reaction, we didn't want to say, okay, we're not charging anything to the host at all on this reservation, on that transactional part of it. But yeah, we definitely, I think the first meeting where we announced a pricing plan, we already had conversations. Actually, not the first. It was probably the third or the fourth,
yeah.
Because we made the pricing very clear over and over. But that's when we launched it that actually we received more qualified feedback that actually I would like to be the one paying for the charges, for the percentage.
Okay.
Which makes sense. We're gonna have it. It just there are complications.
Yeah. We're almost out of time here. Sorry, this turned into a direct Q&A session here. Wendy asked, can we get a booking confirmation email when direct booking come through Instant Book? Yeah, that's on our list. It's something we missed because normally before Instant Book, the host was the one taking the action to accept the booking. Now that Instant Book happens, it can be that you'll get notified when the request is there, but not when the confirmation is there. We've got a ticket for that, and we'll get that taken care of. But yeah, understood on that issue that we need to tell you when you have an Instant Book happen. Is there something outside of Hospitable we should be setting up with Google, the equivalent of Google Business, but for travel? Dan, I think you can watch this on YouTube. Go back and watch the replay. You need to get direct set up with Hospitable, and then you can start pushing your properties to Google Travel, which we refer to also as Google Vacation Rentals. Those are one and the same. It's not Google Business.
I guess to clarify on that, it's basically you're doing it all through Hospitable. There's nothing that you have to go to Google and set up. It's all through Hospitable once you've got your direct site set up.
Yep. Looking through questions here, I think we've got everything. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, that's basically time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Trevor. So just want to do a final call out for Orlando as well. So if anyone is heading to the VRMA conference starting on Sunday, please do pop along to booth 122. We will be there. I think everyone that's spoken on this call today from our side is going to be there, and a bunch of others. So please come and see us in the flesh. We are real people. We're not just AI on a screen. And also, if you are available on Sunday in Orlando, we do still have some free tickets for the Cassiola Beach Party. Come and check that out. I just dropped the link in the chat again. I'll share that on the YouTube channel as well. And I think that's all we have time for today. PC, Andrew, any final words of anything you've just seen as I've tried wrapping things up?
Yeah, I just saw something on the chat that basically triggered a massive spike of anxiety, which is see you from Anthony, see you at VRMO. I was like, no, we did that. No. VRMA, that's really, there's a lot of trauma on this team about this. These letters. Split one, turn one into a B and something. But yeah, no problem. So yeah, it would be a pleasure to see each other in the flesh. We can have plenty of great conversation and hear about some great feedback, have something one-on-one. We'd love to hear you. Thank you for everyone who's been rushing to provide feedback on notification, and thank you to Alisa, who was actually able to share an answer to Sarah on the chat as well. It's been yeah, and yeah, so thank you so very much. See you in Orlando, Disney World. A week, yeah, I wish I would come with kids. That would be a lot better, but no, that's going to be just me, just us. So yeah, thank you so very much. Have a great evening from Brussels and Toronto and Florence.